I am so super excited to welcome you back to another episode of the Tiffany Bethea podcast. You probably thought I up and moved to Mars because it's been a minute since I've done an episode. So many good things have been going on, and I'll be sharing those things with you, some today, some over the next few weeks. But I am excited to be back, to be committed to be here, having rearranged my whole schedule with the new increase and all that God is doing, so that I can keep the conversation going. I've still had those of you commenting on my YouTube and on my podcast, and I was like, I have got to get back there. But so if you are watching me live, and yes, I'm recording this live, you can come to my Facebook page to check it out, then you already see that I have a very special guest with me today. Now, he has been... I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and then I'll say a little bit more. So you want to say hi?
Yeah, so hey guys, my name is Jordan Love. I'm her son. She's been parenting me for more than 9 years.
Yeah.
Almost 10 years.
Almost 10. That was a shameless birthday plug, right? He will be 10 in January. I'm partially in denial. Yeah, so, but it's funny because we've actually been here for a good 10 or so minutes trying to get this thing working. And, you know, I think my garage band was laughing at me because I have not recorded a podcast in a while. And it didn't want to act right. But I was like, I think it fits into the conversation we're having today because we're talking about goals and dreams. And sometimes stuff doesn't quite work right the first time you do it, right, son? And I was saying to my Facebook viewers that, you know, I'm very big on generational decisions. I understand the parent-child dynamic when it comes to purpose so well because of what my parents, the paths that they trailblazed for me, you know, just... I don't even know how to describe it. And so my parents, first generation college students, first generation multi-six-figure earners, entrepreneurs, not first generation entrepreneurs, but so many things that they've done, I've been able to watch, and it's helped me in terms of growing my own purpose. And so now I'm very intentional about what I'm doing with this young king, my little prince, because I want his awareness about his purpose and what he can do in his life to, you know, just be stirred. And really, we've been having these conversations, you and I, your dad and I, for a long time. So let's just jump right into this podcast, guys. So the topic for today we'll get into in a little bit, but you know that I normally start out my podcast with a segment called church announcements. Well, I'm gonna remix that segment a little bit, and I'm gonna call this segment pop culture in the pulpit. All right, so no more church announcements. Those of you who've been used to that segment, it's the same segment but just remixed, because I want to talk about pop culture news and events, but from a kingdom perspective. And so for today's pop culture in the pulpit segment, we're going to be talking about our president. Our president's in a little bit of trouble. Jordan said, you already uninterested, huh?
I'm not having it.
Okay, so tell me about this response. What are you not having?
Well, I can't take this president anymore.
Really? What about him?
And I don't think he's a good president. I mean, because the other day I was talking to my dad, like, is Mexico and the United States? And he was like, the North America. And he was like, yeah. And then I was like, wow, like, Donald Trump is really trying to separate a whole continent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, dude.
Which isn't really very kind, is it?
Yeah, and it's not necessary. Like, why are you trying to do this? Like,
yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I think one of the challenges that people don't really care for when it comes to our president is just the way he treats people.
Exactly.
It's like, you don't have to... Now, have you ever heard this phrase, you can disagree without being disagreeable?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so you cannot agree with someone, but you don't have to bash who they are as a person, or... and honestly, it's like, how good is your argument if when the other person rebuttals, you have to attack them instead of stick to the facts? Like, what sense, how you must not have really good facts and evidence, right? Don't you think? So, but here's the thing, though, Jord. Like, he's now facing impeachment.
Yeah.
What do you know about that?
I know that there's a Republican Party and the Democrats are they were trying to get some distraction with it so they could impeach Donald Trump.
You mean more traction?
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah. Well, and the thing about it is, I mean, there are Republicans there are plenty of Republicans who are trying to save face and still take up for him, and we'll talk about that another time. But there are Republicans who are also like, dude, you as you say, you do too much. you do too much. Like, you're not doing a good job. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not even sure. I'm not gonna say I'm not sure how I feel about this impeachment process. I don't think it's just him, though. I think I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Mike Pence. I think there are several people that it's like what's gonna happen if he isn't the president? I think ultimately my feeling about it is that we just really have to hold whoever and everybody accountable to really uphold the values that we say are our values as a country, to hold up our beliefs, our morals. Like, I think we just have to really, really hold people accountable. So I hope that this process is not long. It's interesting, though, because we're about to go into this kind of holiday season in a little bit. Can you believe that? It's going to be like Thanksgiving time probably pretty soon.
No, I cannot believe it. Like, it feels like yesterday was the beginning of the year. It
feels like yesterday we just celebrated your birthday. He has a January birthday. So that always kind of helps me calculate the year, because pretty much soon it's Happy New Year, and I'm birthday planning. Like, Happy instant. So yeah, I feel like we just celebrated your birthday, and now we're about to be planning it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's our edition of Pop Culture in the Pulpit, guys. I don't even know. I mean, because I thought this conversation would be longer, but when it comes to Trump, it's like, what? There's not necessarily a whole lot to say. I will say this. Thank you, Lord. I hear you. I do think we should still pray for him.
Yeah.
He's a soul. He's a person.
Yeah.
So now this is the kingdom perspective, right? The first part was probably a little fleshy. We sorry. We love y'all. But this is the kingdom perspective. I do think we should pray for him. And it's weird because sometimes I have different thoughts about his presidency, and like, he made a comment over 20 years ago about, if he ran for office, he would run Republican because they were dumb. Sometimes I wonder if he's doing all of this to get our attention, and if he's really not even that bad of a person, but if he's trying to show America like where we are. So I know that's kind of weird, but sometimes I think that. Sometimes I wonder if it's like, is he just doing all this, even though it's super over the top, to like wake us up and show us like we really have a long way to go. But I say all that to say, I think we should definitely pray for him and, everybody involved, right? Yeah. And our country. I mean, what do you think about that? Like, praying for him and praying for our country. You should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of us are actually suffering. And for us, some of us, it just feels like, can you just get him out of office? But some people are really suffering.
Yeah. I agree, son. So, all right, let's hop into our discussion for the day. You ready for this? Yeah. So I wanted to talk about, now I told you don't move the chair. Look at me move the chair. Don't make that face. It wasn't intentional. Now I'm focusing, okay? Mommy, don't move the chair either. But really, I wanted to have a conversation just about goals and dreams. We've been talking to you about goals and dreams, and you can be anything probably your whole life, really. Yeah.
Except for when I was a baby.
Well, no, you just don't remember, but we did.
No, I mean like a baby when I couldn't have ears and I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, but trust me, we were still speaking of you. Yeah. But so I wanted to just talk a little bit about like both of our goals and dreams. I feel like this is a part of the year where people starting to realize that 2020 is gonna be here. Do you realize we're gonna be in a whole nother decade, son?
Wow. Yeah. What?
Is it hitting you?
Yeah.
You know what I just realized?
Wow.
Now, I might be really super slow for this. Please don't judge me. But you will hit a new decade along with the calendar. Meaning, because you were born 2010 and that started a new decade, now 2020, you'll be 10. 2030, you'll be 20. You get it? Like, every time there turns a new decade, you're turning a new decade in your age. You get it?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Man, that's neat. Okay, that's going to make it really easy to remember how old you are when I get old.
I know.
Like, for real. I'm going to have to carry the 1, -4, or nothing. It's just going to be bam, 0 at the end. But, so I think this is a time of year when people start to really get serious about goals and what am I thinking about for 2020. What about you? What are your goals, some of your goals and dreams right now?
So for me, I'm trying to become a professional soccer player, and I know I have to put in a bunch of work, and I'm trying to make the next level.
Yeah.
And go to the next level and all the way get to the top.
So tell them about your soccer team. Who do you play for right now?
I play for this soccer team called Pipeline.
Yeah, Pipeline. I'm a Pipeline parent.
It's actually the practice field is actually not too far from here, but some of the games are pretty far.
Yeah, he's in a new league, and so we travel quite a bit. We've been to, so far we've been to like Philly, Waldorf. We're going to Bethesda's.
Yeah.
I was about to say Sunday, but tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, we're going to Bethesda.
I didn't want y'all to think I was saying Bethesda's. It was about to go into Sunday, but I caught myself. I was like, Bethesda's, because somebody caught that and was like, Bethesda's. Yeah, no, that's not what I was saying. But, yeah, and I love your team. I love your coach. I think you have a really good coach. So tell me about what you're doing to make that soccer dream.
Well, I'm putting in the work because, like, sometimes you see people, like, especially it goes into business, like you see people have a bunch of money, and that's all people really care about sometimes. But the truth is, nobody really sees how hard they have to work sometimes. Like, get up in the morning, do some research, work. Like, you don't really see the hard work.
Yeah.
And I have to do and to fulfill that, I have to do really, really hard work. Like, it's really hard.
Like what? Tell me about, like, what kind of drills and things are you working on?
So, in soccer, I have to have pretty good balls because sometimes if I'm dribbling the ball down, I'm in a whole year up. I played for 2009, but I'm born in 2010. So, some of these boys, all of them are way faster than me, so I have to be smarter and think really quickly. And I know I have to do things like go one way and then go the other way because I know the defender's coming quickly because I'm slower. Yeah. And I also want to work on shooting the ball really hard because sometimes I don't have that much time. Yeah. And this can relate to business too because if you're trying to get like $1 million business or something, you have to work really hard. Like probably harder than you ever worked in your whole life. And yeah, probably I don't even know. Like, it's so hard, really hard. But it's not just like, and have you ever heard the phrase, like, practice makes perfect?
Yeah, I have heard that phrase.
And the truth is, perfect practice, well, 2 ways. Practice makes permanent. And then you have to, if it's not right, you have to fix it. And perfect practice makes perfect.
Okay, wait. Did y'all catch that? Because this baby is dropping some nuggets right here. Say the first line you said. Practice makes permanent.
Yes.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about that. This is really good. I like that. What does that mean?
So practice makes permanent, meaning you can practice good stuff or bad things. So let's just say if you're having a childhood life and you practice pretty good things, then it's still going to be permanent of what you learned and your parents taught you. If your parents taught you something like that's not good, then you practice that stuff a bunch and keep on going, and soon it becomes permanent. But that does not mean you can't fix it. That's why I said permanent, because you still have to fix it, which doesn't make perfect.
What? Man, listen. What? And can I say something to that? You just said like a whole mouthful. Are y'all catching this? Like, I keep scrolling up because sometimes it doesn't move the comments up. But Miss, do you see Miss Equation? She said, oh, "Drop that knowledge." I love it, right? But the thing I love about that, what you said, was so true. Like, practice makes permanent, and I think that. So for me, right, and what mommy does, and with a lot of people that she works with and encourages them, sometimes they may be nervous to do things like this, like live stream, like talk in front of people, like sell their products or sell their services. But the more they practice, the more those habits become permanent, become a part of them.
Yep.
You know, like I've been speaking now since 2000. So I guess 2003, that's 16. Wow, I've been speaking for 16 years. Right. And so the more that I speak, yes, I get nervous when I step on the stage, but because I have so much practice, my habit as a speaker is permanent. But then you said something so good, which was like, what if what you practiced was the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Then doesn't mean
it's
you
still
can't.
going to be permanent, though, because it became a part of you, and now if you do not like it and if it's wrong, you have to fix it.
Out of the mouth of babes. I'm not even joking. Like, that's good. That's really good, son. I love that, because practice does make permanent. And the thing about it is, we are often practicing things long before we know we're practicing it. So once we realize, oh my goodness, like what comes to mind for me, son, is sometimes we practice bad habits, bad thoughts. That's what I'm trying to say. We've been thinking bad thoughts about ourselves. We don't. What about the people whose mom didn't teach them affirmations like I taught you it? Yeah. You know, maybe they've been practicing self-doubt or fear or rehearsing that. But then, so that's become permanent for them. They know self-doubt. But guess what? Like you said, now they can fix it. Now they can learn how to speak over themselves and transform their words and transform their mind into something more positive. And then you said something else, which was...
Perfect practice makes perfect.
You are my child. Are you my child? Man, I'm trying to tell you. But that's so true. So tell me what that means to you, or what you know of that to mean.
I know, and my dad used to say that, well, and he still does sometimes. He says, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And that means no matter what you're doing, you have to do it with full intention, focus on it, and you have to know what you're doing first. Because you can't let those habits you can't let other people just teach you that stuff.
I love it.
You have to focus on it, and you have to make it really good. Not necessarily, that's not literally perfectness, because I don't believe in perfectness, but like pretty good, really good practice makes perfect. Yeah. Not really perfect,
but at least proficient.
Yes.
Right? And I'm so glad you said that. Can I tell you the truth, son? I'm glad that you're learning this lesson at 9. Mommy didn't know that at 9. And I did believe in perfect. And I used to beat myself up trying to be perfect, because number one, with my personality type, I'm very literal. We have that in common. Like, I have to be careful what I say to you, because it will be very literal. So I was really striving for perfection, and I used to feel like my esteem would be impacted when I wasn't perfect, until I realized that, like you said just now, perfect is not actually attainable, but proficient and excellent is. Like, that's the goal, right? I love it.
And sometimes, like you were saying before, practice makes permanent. Sometimes you could looking at it in another way. Stuff can become habits. That's what I mean by it becomes permanent. It becomes habits. Once you get used to the fact of stuff happening, it becomes permanent. And like, I remember you and my uncle were telling a story about you used to have, like, I think cabbage, or no, it was I think greens or something.
Peas with pizza?
No, not peas with pizza. I think it was like spinach. And you used to have those bag spinach.
And I hated it.
And then you guys hated it. And you never wanted it. Like, almost never. Right. Never.
Right.
So, and you hated it. So, once...
Until I tasted the fresh?
Yeah. But my uncle once, he was like, they were like something about the restaurant about veggies and something, and he was like, sure, I'll take it. And then because he never knew what the real spinach tastes like, so it became a habit that he didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And then he tasted the real thing, and he was like, this is good. Like then it showed out. So the fact that you guys had tasted the bag spinach that hadn't been tasted like real good spinach, mm-hmm. had set up a habit that was permanent, that you guys did not like it. But you guys tasted the real thing, and then it showed up, mm-hmm. that you guys liked it.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Are you guys let me tell you something. My son, and I'm not even being like, okay, I'm probably being a mom a little bit, right? But like, it's still recording me. I know the screensaver came on, but I know it's still recording. So, oh my goodness. Okay, I am being a mom here, right? My son is super wise, but I love what you're saying, because sometimes we form habits, and habits become character, right? Yeah. So sometimes our habits and our character is formed based around what we've been exposed to or not exposed to. Yep. So what he's saying is, like, when we were growing up, my mom made box spinach. Now, my mom could cook, so this ain't no shade. But, for whatever reason, she just box spinach, which was what was frozen spinach, and I hated it. I did not like it until, for both me and my brother, until we got older and tasted. And now, like, literally in the fridge now, what we got? Spinach. Yeah. I cook spinach, at least once a week? Yeah. I love fresh spinach. I cook it all the time, because once I got exposed to a higher quality, that's a word. Oh, that's a word. Listen. Once I got exposed to a higher quality, the true essence of it, I was like, it's my second favorite vegetable. I do like broccoli a little bit better. I could honestly eat broccoli every day. Quick sidebar, what's your favorite vegetable? My favorite vegetable,
I'd say spinach.
Really? Yeah. You do tear up spinach when I make it.
Especially, yeah, because it's nice and juicy, and the juicy flavor tastes really good.
And I make it healthy, because I don't put any salt or any of that. I do. Now, this ain't no cooking show, but I really honestly just do like garlic, lemon juice. Like, I don't do a lot. It doesn't really need a lot. Mm-hmm. But anyway, back to the point. Back to the point at hand. Look at everybody. Look, I love it. Everybody's like, oh my God, he's so wise. But it's true. And so honestly, guys, like, this is what happens when, I know that a lot of your babies have this down on the inside of them too. Like, this is what happens when you, what's the word I'm looking for? Spark the fire that's in them with their dreams and their goals. I'm always talking to Jordan about what mommy's working on. And, even now, I'm very intentional about saying, mommy's working towards being a millionaire. Now, I know it sounds interesting because he's 9 and he's probably like, okay, but I remember with my parents and them being at the beginning of their dreams too, with 5 people in a hotel, and now they own a mall. And so I know I don't want him to only see the after and think mommy bumped into it. I'm like, nah, I want you to know that every time you see me doing these lives and going to speak and doing phone calls and marking up my charts, Forex trading, and I showed you my charts yesterday, so that when it happens, I want him to be able to place the connection of the dots and go, oh, all that work, oh, all that. And then honestly, sometimes he even sees me in here in prayer. I was watching, he was home yesterday too. They were out of school yesterday, and so yesterday was a heavy coaching day, and you saw me praying with that client. What was that like when you probably didn't even know I was about to break into prayer? What was that like when you saw me start praying with my client?
I was like, this must be something strong.
Because I was really praying with some intention, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really, yeah. Well, actually, 2 of my clients I ended up
praying. At the end, you're even like, woo.
Because I felt it in my spirit, like I could feel what they were birthing, and that prayer took me in to a certain place. But he's getting to see that. Like, literally, I had 3 coaching calls yesterday. He was here, and I wanted him so he can see that mommy's dream and assignment is really helping other people birth their assignment, And so the more people come to me with their books and all of these things, that I'm helping them live out their assignment, and that's my assignment. Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This has been amazing. I have to take a breath. I'm going to have to go back and watch this. So what would you say? Let's give some closing words to anybody who is trying to go after their dreams and help their children go after their dreams. I want you to speak to maybe the parents and the kids.
Okay. 1, don't stress your kids about it too much.
Okay.
I think let them learn and grow, and they should watch you and see how it is, and maybe one day, like my mom does it sometimes, just sit down and talk, and it doesn't even have to be about it. Just sit down and talk, and I think that will start to gain more of their knowledge, and let them show it. Like my mom it's not that I'm just smart and smartness just came in just like a drop of water and then it just soaked in. No, my mom showed me what it was like, and she showed me because
I'm gonna make sure it's still recording. Go ahead, talk with me.
Because she knows that when she watched her parents grow a whole church from 5 people in a hotel, like she said, into a whole big church, and now we're moving to a new church, and now I'm starting to watch that with her as she's becoming a big millionaire, and I think I think it's just, and it doesn't, because I've been living for 9 years.
Yes.
So it doesn't grow in just when they're 1 year old. They're supposed to learn this quickly. Learn this quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming over 9 years because my mom has seen what it looks like to grow a whole church, and then she's grown and growing, and then I've been watching it pretty much my whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think what I would add to that conversation would be, remember that everything is really already in you. You're not looking for something external to make these dreams or goals come to pass. Mm-hmm. Just like the manufacturer of the phone, everything in the phone needs to work is in there. Everything you need to work is in you. Everything that, God needs for your purpose, he put in you at creation. So like he said, don't stress them, but don't stress yourself either. Breathe and just exist and just be and just know that everything you want to happen, it can absolutely come to pass. So I want to thank you guys for joining us for this episode. I feel like this has been so amazing. You're going to have to come back and do this with me again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have some more tips.
No, but we're getting ready to wrap up, honey. Okay. So, but save them for the next time. Okay.
Yeah.
So this has been phenomenal. We love you guys. This episode will be up on Monday. And you'll be able to come back on the podcast, go actually to the podcast and listen to it. We're also going to pop it up on our YouTube as well. Yeah. All right, guys. Have a phenomenal weekend. We love you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.